Hi everyone and welcome to Shopify Dropshipping Lifestyle. My name is Ricky Hayes. It's lovely to meet you all. And in today's video, we're all going back into the Audience Insights tool. So let's get straight into it. Alright, so as I've made in previous videos about how to make ads quickly and easily, it has become a bit of apparent to me that I've probably been a little biased as to how I've presented those. Again, I go off by gut feeling. I have noticed a number of people are sort of a bit unclear how to choose an audience. And so what I'm going to do is I wanted to run through audience insights for people that are struggling to find an audience that you want to potentially target. You can use the Audience Insights tool. It is a tool that is designed for that purpose, but it is a tool that I don't personally use. You will actually find a disparity between the Audience Insights tool and actually the interests you can use in your ads. Now, I don't know why that is. There's probably two data correlation sets, I don't know, on the back end with Facebook. So you can't actually use all the interests here in your actual ad set itself, which is pretty ironic. But if you were to use it to try and get ideas, this is what you want to do, okay? So it is a fantastic tool. It is absolutely amazing, like something like Google Analytics, where you can just see absolutely insane amount of data about your website and your audience, even more granular than this. But basically, this is what it looks like. So under your various options here, obviously you're going to spend most of your time in your ads manager, audiences, catalogs, automated rules, not really, and then there's audience insights, okay? So it has had some recent bugs. They have fixed it. It can be a bit of a pain. By default, it's going to default to United States. I leave it as United States. You can put in the other countries, but I just leave it as United States because United States is got the biggest audience. I don't want to collude it with all this data. I just want to get a general overview, because if you get a general overview of what works in the US, it's highly likely to work in the UK, and that you don't need to worry greatly about that. Again, with your audience, it doesn't have to be perfect, all right? But I want to show you how you can use it primarily to get an idea of your audience. So first thing I should say is always use online shopping as an interest in flexed targeting. I'll show you that again in your interest targeting. Two, it obviously depends on your niche, but the niches that I prefer are far more female dominated. So women, choose women. I don't target 25 and under, especially to start with. I target 25 and up. That because the theory is that people at that age have a bit more capital or cash behind them, because generally speaking, 18 to 24-year-old male or female are at uni, just come out of school, getting first full-time job, starting to pay rent and that. So they're a bit more strapped for cash as a generalization, okay? So I just skip that whole age group and I just go for the higher age groups, okay? So 25 and up, women. Obviously it depends on your niche, but again, the one, women. And then, so in previous video, I used the dog collar as the example. So I want to just, before we do get further into this, give a bit of an overview with the Audience Insights tool so you understand it from a higher perspective. All right, so let's say that I change this back to all, right? First thing we can see is a general overview of all this data, which is it's just insane how you can see all this data. Pardon me. First thing you want to know, a lot of people get confused with these stats, okay? So 55% of people that are on Facebook or that they have data on are women, and then the 45 other percent are men. So it is more women than men, 10% more in fact. And then 54% of all these women are on Facebook. So what does that mean? 46% of them are on Instagram. So, and then 54% are on Instagram for male. So very interesting. Again, you can sort of see why Instagram is becoming the next thing. Instagram's only been around a few years. Facebook's been around a lot longer. And you can see how big of an impact Instagram's already having to this data, all right? So And this will only improve, I imagine, as Facebook really starts to push Instagram integration even more with all the data that you can utilize. So you can see here from that, just this generalization, that 28% of this audience from the United States, so 25 and over, being male and female, are 25 to 34-year-olds. And you can see, so 28.2% to be exact, of selected audience and 23.9% of Facebook users. So the core amount, so nearly a quarter of all of Facebook users are 25 to 34 for women, okay? You can see that at a glance. Now, I don't look too deeply at that. I'm just running through as a glance. You don't want to look at this all specifically. You just want to have a look at the graph, get an idea, because you will find for different audiences that some of these just will be absolute crap, all right? So you can see relationship status, you know, if they're single, in a relationship, engaged, or married. So you can actually see that of this entire audience, over 50% are married. All right, if I change this to 18, takes off a whole 7%. So you can see from 18 to 24, men and women are starting to get married. 7% of that, in fact, which is just in the United States, which is of hundreds of millions of people, which shows that if you're in the wedding sector, there's a lot of opportunity. Anyway, but basically, that sort of gives you that overview. Education status. So this is what I mean by why. So if we change this now, I imagine this will be very different. Nope. Wait, did that change? It did. Only slightly, in fact. But you can see here that a lot of people are at university and very minimal amount of them graduated, and a number of them finished high school. You can see that veterans, very popular. These are all the job titles, sort of overview. You can see them all. You can see management is a very large one. Don't really need to look at that data, if I'm honest. Not for what we're doing. You could spend all day in here and it's not going to achieve you anything. You can see as well that we've got a 200 million people audience. So this is where you will spend most of your time in page likes. So page likes, the reason that you want to utilize this, or I've utilized it in the past, spent way too much time in here, and why I don't personally do it, but it is great for idea generation, is it gives you all these cool categories, okay? So you can see these because currently we've left it very open, have very broad categories. So, you know, furniture, IKEA, travel agent, book VIP, social media agency, American News, Groupon. These are all what Facebook finds have the largest amount of likes, all right? The largest amount of likes across all these categories. And you can use these categories. There's 30 different categories, and in each category there's hundreds to thousands of pages that you can choose. You can only choose pages that have a certain amount of data. Now, I don't know what that is. Facebook define that. Some will have like 1,000 people, but most of the time it has to have hundreds of thousands of people. So I don't know exactly how Facebook define that. I do apologize for that. What you can see here though is the other thing is relevance. I don't look at relevance all that much. You want to look at if you want to do this at affinity, all right? And this will make a lot more sense once I start putting in some interest. But basically, the affinity is how closely Facebook define two groups to be together. So all of these groups, Facebook define that these people are extremely closely related. These people, by definition, from data perspective, are very close. You know, they all have very similar likes, and what it defines is very similar lifestyles. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's true, and I'm not generalizing. So then the other part we want to look at is that you can look at, which I don't look at much. I don't know how to actually read this properly, so I don't look at it. You can look at towns and cities to see top interests of towns, cities. California is always going to be one of the biggest ones. California, New York, Las Vegas, Texas. Can't remember the other ones. Are always going to be your biggest ones, okay? And then activity. Again, I don't look at location much. You won't need to. You can look at frequency of activities, the number of times a selected audience performed these actions on Facebook. So they've shared, commented. on a general basis. It's pretty fascinating. Now, the one thing that is important here is device users. So we can see here why your website needs to be mobile optimized. Just for a start, why are people still messaging you? God damn, that's annoying. Anyway, and you can see that computer is still a real audience, no doubt about it. You can see though that the obvious ones is Samsung and Apple, basically. So that is why it's so important, just from this, to always do mobile first and you do desktop later. Because, I mean, like as I said, for my retargeting, desktop works well, but as a general overview, literally what, 70, nearly 80% is just from these two types of things. And that's only going to get bigger. This will decrease over time. That will increase. You can somehow see that iPad still has its place. Poor Samsung's tablets don't even have a... Now, I don't know what mobile web is, but basically I presume that's like a correlation of those two. But you can see just how important it is to test your website on mobile and target mobile. So that's why we now know 25 and up, men or women, as I said, for my niches. No, Americans say niches. Australians say niches. It's like castle. Anyway, that women is the one that I'll target. So look, if we change this now, you can see that desktop takes a bit of a hit, and we can see iPhone and Samsung are still primary ones, of course. All right. And again, just from that basic data, that's why when you set out your ad set, that you just go straight to Facebook newsfeed, straight to Instagram newsfeed, and on mobile. Because again, Instagram only works on mobile. That's why you go mobile, all right? So, and it's going to target that primarily anyway, because that's where most of the people go. So, now we understand that. We understand that basically I've cut out half the audience and that they're now women. And I'm going to use the same example that I did with the dog leash, that dog leash that lights up, which is a very handy dog leash, might I add. So, all I do when you want to start is you want to get ideas, and you don't want to get bogged down too heavily into the wrong ideas, basically. And what I mean by that is you want to just start with something broad, and it gives you ideas, and then you can narrow it down. It's like the same with anything with marketing. Broad, it will help you. Just because it's broad doesn't mean that you're not going to get sales. Broad, and then you narrow down. Like again, you know, so like once you start getting sales and you start potentially seeing that, I don't know, that Ukraine absolutely love this product, that you would then make an ad set for Ukraine. So you've then defined further, right? So it's the same with this, that it's all just about using your gut feeling, going from something broad and then narrowing down a little bit. It doesn't need to be hard. Don't make it hard. Don't spend all day on it. I just wanted to make this so that you can utilize this to your advantage, basically, if you wish to do this. Now, you don't need to use connections. You don't need to use pages, people connected to people, blah, blah, because you've all got small pages. If you had like a, 500,000, 100,000 or something, you may look at that, because then you can see your actual audience of people that like you, which is pretty cool, I will admit. So, if I put in dog, come up with dogs in this case. So, firstly, we see, again, mobile. We can see less and less and less desktop for women. We can see that iPhone is by far, well, not by far, but it is the primary one. Samsung is obviously there as well. We could look at location. We see that again, Florida, California. It's much the same thing there. I don't look at that. You can look at demographics. And again, we sort of see a similar graph to what we did if we took dogs out. Very similar. You can see it is of very similar services. And you can see that in America, that women are, from what Facebook says, are generally in admin-related roles. So, but that's not relevant anyway. But I was just using it as an example. So basically, now we want to go to page likes. This is where I would spend all my time. We've now narrowed our audience from 200 million to 100 million to now 30 million. Now this is heaps of people to get very good feedback on. So now we're going to start seeing, now I don't know why it does this. Some of them are just completely irrelevant. But you can see here we've got like pet suppliers, Petco, PetSmart, Animal Rescue Home. And if you open these, we've got a 2.5 million people audience. And, you know, there's a very passionate group about helping animals. Now, one of the things, this is a little tip, trick, hack, if you've ever known about it, is that Facebook recently rolled out info and ads. So you can actually see a page's ads. I was thinking about making a specific video of this, but I thought, I'll just show you now. But you can actually now go to your competition and check your info and ads, and you just choose the country. So you just choose US, and if they're advertising, you'll see their ads. The only way you wouldn't see it is if they're running satellite pages, or basically fan pages. They call them satellite pages. It's just a fancy word for fan pages. But basically, you can now see that if we go Petco, PetSmart, again, these are all brands I'm sure you're all aware of. And they've got a beautiful video. See, I like doing these videos because it gives me an excuse to look at dogs. But again, you can see here, a huge audience. So you would say that these people are highly likely, if they're interested in, if we're trying to sell a dog collar, that they're likely to be people that are interested. These people are likely to be these type of people that are interested. Now, for some reason, again, you can't. Here we go. Whoops. What? How annoying. So you can actually see that they've been recently advertising. So this is a recent ad. You can see like that they're running carousel. Just simple images. And you can get an idea that they can get away with not selling because they've already built the brand. But you can see how they're just running simple carousel. And look at how well it works. It actually can give you ideas, all right? They're not even running ad copy for this. This might be a simple retargeting ad. But you can, yeah, it's probably like a DPA retargeting ad, it seems. But you can see just how effective this is. And it gives you ideas, all right? So don't think that what you're doing is bad. Like they've built the brand, so it's a bit different of a strategy for them, but it gives you an idea. So then we close out of that one and we go Petco. And again, we've got a large audience of people. And we go US. And the reason I'm also doing this is that now you have the advantage where you can actually sort of get ideas. So what I mean is that for that dog collar, a video would work good because they get to see how it works. But again, you can sort of just see, you know, like get an idea at face value, just how are they making their money. And again, you can see a common theme, carousel. So carousel works extremely well, especially once you build a brand. It'll work extremely well. Now, Petco is obviously dogs and cats, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. All right, so because you can just put in like dogs as another flexed interest. So you can see how like, I can see straight away, just off the top of my head, what I would do with this dog collar. One interest, let's say Petco, PetSmart. Another interest, dogs. So separated, so it's narrowing the audience. And then online shopping. How easy was that? Literally 2 seconds of time. And that's what you get from this. That's what you get. You're generating ideas. Doesn't have to be perfect, but would you say that people like Petco, PetSmart, that are interested in dogs and like online shopping, age 25 to 65 plus, women in the United States would be likely to be interested in the dog collar? I'm assuming the answer is yes. And so based off that, I've made an audience. Then if I wanted to do another audience, family pet, I love my dog. So you could then do one that's like, again, I love dogs, I love my dog, dog lover. People that love dogs, right? They're big dog lovers, and online shopping. Or you could go, I love dogs, and then another one of just dogs, so they're just absolute dog fanatics, and then online shopping. And you can see just how easy that really is to make an audience that really you can just come up with in a couple of seconds. You know, like family pet, again, another large one, info and ads. We can have a look. I don't know why. Oh, there's no ads. They're not running ads. Okay. But you can then, you know, food and company. There's magazines. I'm just trying to find other dog ones that sort of face value. Weight Watchers. What? See, this is where part of the reason I don't use it is it does come back with incorrect data at times. All right, so all right, but that's fine. That's fine. So now how I mentioned about this affinity. Okay, so we can see here family, pet, and animal rescue. See how they have a high affinity to one another. Now this doesn't have to be perfect, as long as that bar, like the top bar and the second bar underneath it, aren't literally like 10% of the bar above it. That when you know they have a high affinity to one another. So if I was going to use my example of saying before of Petco. And we take out dogs because that's too broad. Alright, so Petco. And then we see PetSmart. See how that really changed the affinity? Now, I don't know exactly what that means in terms of that, just something. But you can see how it's not absolutely perfect, but you can see how they have quite an affinity to one another. And that we would have quite a large audience. The total audience of 2.5 million includes men, okay? So for this dog collar, again, you could target men. Men would buy it because men love dogs. I love dogs, and I believe I'm a male. So this would actually work for men and women, okay? This product. So if I then put in PetSmart, you can see this will change this a little bit. See how putting it in has made the affinity higher. I don't know exactly why it does that, but now it's going to give us even more relevant ones. Look at this. Now you have heaps of ideas. And these are large audiences. You can see 1.5 mil, 1 mil, 1 mil, 1 mil, blah, blah, blah. These are all audiences you can come up with by just starting with a broad word: dogs, cats, fashion, jewelry, adventure. And then you just find a couple of ones and then you throw them basically in here, one or two of them. You look at your affinity or your page likes and your affinity, and you're going to have, look at all this now. Facebook knows who I'm sort of targeting. It's like, yep, these people, these people, these people, these people, these people. That's it. That is it. If I were to use the Audience Insights tool, it is exactly how I would use it. No different at all to what I'm just showing you right now. And you can see how you've gone from now sort of being, oh, I'm not sure what to choose, where now you've gotten more data-driven decisions, okay? So if you prefer that, then use that method. Use a very broad interest related to your niche or the product itself. So, like if it's, I don't know, something to do with shoes, put in shoes. And then you'll probably come up with something like Adidas, or something more, if it's more boutique shoe, a more boutique brand. If it's a sports shoe, then something like Adidas or Nike. And you can see how that is all you need to do. Always the same thing. Start broad and then narrow down. So like again, if I were to do sports shoes, Adidas, Nike, people that are, I can think of a few. People that would like sports. So Adidas, Nike, people that probably like Adidas and Nike are highly likely to be people that like sports. So you could put in sports, or you could put in a specific sport if it's related to a specific sport. And then you do online shopping. That is it. That's it. I use basically a brand, a large brand, a large magazine, a famous blog, a famous person, maybe just a famous page on Facebook, a known website that you can use, and then you just put something a bit more specific about the product. So you again start broad, something specific about the product, and then online shopping. Broad, narrow, online shopping. And you can see how just the three of those will eliminate most of your audience. You're most likely going to have an audience in between 2 to 10 million, which is fine. And then you can start marketing. So rather than wondering all day about this perfect audience, that's exactly what I do now. Like, I used to spend hours in here for a single ad to try and find perfect affinity or perfect this, perfect that. There is no perfect, okay? The product speaks for itself. The product will speak for itself, and then your website will do the selling, all right? So the product will speak, the website will sell. Product speak, website sell. And all you're doing is you're just telling Facebook, well, these are the type of people that I think are interested in this product. go out and find me some people that are going to go buy. And that's it. That's all you need to think about. You don't need to think about this, that. I make mistakes every day, just the same as you. We're not perfect, so don't try and make it perfect, okay? Don't get caught in the trap of perfect, because it's going to be actually so imperfect, it's going to actually work against you. So let the imperfect process be the process, because I don't care what anyone says, again, and I've mentioned this many times, regardless of if you're a marketer that's doing spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a day for a client or your own business, it really doesn't matter. The process is the same, all right? You will see that the process is the same, that it's always something broad, then something a bit more specific, and then you go out and they will just do the same thing, and then it's about just optimizing, slowly optimizing, split testing, trying new little things like this. But when you're starting out, just start with this. I've given you the video on how I make the ad, and I'll do this now. So if we go back to my ads manager, leave. Sorry about that. I had to pause. Apparently, my bloody alternative account, and want proof of who I am, so they put it in review. That's so stupid. Well, I guess it stops identity theft. Anyway, so back to where I was sort of going, just with the ad set level. So now we sort of have an idea with the audience insights as to who we're targeting. Now we just go and create the ad, all right? So there isn't much to it. You choose the purchase pixel. I've shown you this. But if this isn't, then choose the purchase pixel. We get back to the ad set name momentarily. You choose everyone to people in this location, so people that live there. You change the location, so I'm just going to, as I said, I target the big 5. I don't define big 4 anymore. I define it as big 5 because New Zealand is a first world country. It has money, same as Australia, so I target them. Don't get many sales, but I get sales. So you can see how now we've got a huge audience. We then narrow it down a little bit. Again, same as like we did in the. You can see how this is a very similar reflection of the audience insights. I'm going to choose women. I'm going to choose English all. You can see how we've narrowed the audience quite a lot just from doing these few things. Untick expand audience. That's absolutely useless. So now I'm going to make the ad exactly as what I said. So Petco. PetSmart. We've got a large audience. I'm going to choose dogs, which is very broad. See how that has cut it down a little bit, 600,000. So, you know, people that like this, most of the people that like that like dogs. And then we're going to cut it down a little bit further. Online shopping. And there we go. So you can see that fits into the 2 to 10 million range. You know, people would say it's a pretty large audience, but it really doesn't matter. That is perfectly fine audience. You know, we've got a pretty detailed audience. We're not finished yet. We're going to change it from desktop to mobile, as I said in the audience insights. We're going to take out all other placements other than Facebook and Instagram newsfeed. See how it doesn't make much of a difference anyway, so they're pretty useless placements. Leave all mobile devices open, as we've sort of seen. We changed the daily budget to $5. We change it, make sure it's conversions, and that it's 1 day click. And there we go. So that is how quick and easy it is to make an ad. An ad set. This is telling Facebook who we want to target. So the countries, the ages, the gender, the language, the people that are interested, the placements, and the devices, and the conversion window. And you can see we've got what people would say is a pretty large audience, which it is. Once you start getting sales, you can start scaling this very comfortably. 5.7 million people is a lot to choose from. All right, a lot to choose from. And you can see how it really didn't take me long to make this. So you can all do this. Just use this video as reference. It will help you. It'll help you understand these skills. Over time, the more you do it, you're just going to be able to do it without thinking, okay? And that's why I did want to make this video, was because I was a bit biased there, and I do apologize. I did make this group in these videos so I can make them quick and easy for you, and I neglected that. So I apologize for that. That was my fault. So I hope this has redeemed myself somewhat. But basically, that's all there is to it. If you like today's video, drop a like. Don't forget to drop a comment below if you have any feedback or have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get updated straight away. Again, I upload videos every day. I'm doing more and more around Facebook because that's the feedback I've been given. And I've got plenty of other videos that I'll be making over time as well, just to help you all. Exciting news. The Facebook Live will probably be in a couple of days. So stay tuned, okay? Because the group, I think this morning, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, Australian time in Victoria, has, I think, hit 950 people. So we're 50 people off. And so every day the group's expanding about 30 to 40 people. It's just really expanding, which is absolutely extraordinary. So I expect in 1 to 2 days, I'll be announcing that. I'm very excited. I'm starting to put together the software. I'll put together a schedule to try and get as many of you as you can. And I'm going to do a 2-hour live. Hopefully it's not cringeworthy. For you, that is. And hopefully give you all some live feedback. Okay, I'm a bit nervous. I can't deny. I've never done a live, but it is something I'm looking forward to. Nervous and excited because I think it'll be a really good learning experience for me. So again, that's it from today. My name is Ricky Hayes. This is Shopify Dropshipping Lifestyle. I hope you have liked today's content. Until tomorrow's video, you all have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you all then, and goodbye.